Hello, and welcome to the DoneJS contributors meeting. Today is January 27th, 2017, and with me on the core team today, we have David. Say hello, David. Maybe.
Oh, I was still muted. Good morning.
Julian.
Hey, hello.
Justin.
I hope everybody, especially Julian, had a great January.
Kevin.
Hello.
Matthew.
Hello, hello.
Hello, and I'm Chasen. And today we have someone new on the Hangout. Kevin, would you like to give yourself a little introduction?
Hi, I'm Kevin Dillon. I work at the MathWorks in Natick, Massachusetts, and we've been doing a whole bunch of stuff with FunkUnit, and we want to contribute back and make it even better.
That's awesome. We're stoked to have someone who's focusing on FunkUnit and improving it. That's really cool. All right, let's go through statuses. I'll go ahead and start. On Friday after the contributors meeting, I published the SteelJS 1 upgrade article. And then this week, I fixed the CanJS view parser issue with SVG attributes. Started looking into why scrolling on CanJS.com on iOS devices is so buggy, and worked on a bunch of conference and meetup opportunities. And then next week, same thing with conference and meetup stuff, and then I'll be working on some other CanJS.com bug fixes and improvements. That's my status. David, you want to go?
Mine is just going to be short. 2 weeks ago, I was in Seattle and gave a talk about that it's already been 10 years that we've been doing this, and some of the lessons learned. I think I can post the slides somewhere if anybody wants to look at them. I think it went well. Was fun. It was interesting to do like something a little more high level. So that was it for me. And I took the train ride, which is awesome.
Sweet. Are you working on anything for next week?
Whatever comes up, we did a CanJS 3.0 upgrade at the client, which went fairly well. And I mainly bugged Matthew about Steel. And then we'll see if anything else comes up. We're just QAing the whole app, but it's looking pretty good. Cool. But if there's anything in that aspect, then yeah, I'll definitely go.
Cool. Sounds good. Julian.
So yeah, I was working on some Steel stuff. So I was working on a Steel environment to put this on Steel's core, and I also working still on Steel's cache bust. So Matthew and I talk about it, and we want to release the first version of cache bust. That's a client-side cache busting. And maybe in some future, we make a feature for the cache bust for files. So yeah, that's the first easy version of cache bust. That's for me.
Cool. Sounds good. Justin.
I mostly worked on the Bitballs, or no, Bitcentive guide. There's a whole bunch of issues with Bitcentive that I'm gonna have to dig into next week. And then I guess on Wednesday, I found out I was gonna be speaking at a relatively big company in the Valley, Silicon Valley. So I'm having to prepare a CanJS talk for them. And I'm also doing on Monday LearnJS, and I'm going to be teaching, kind of going through our part of our training material then. And then the big thing for next week is I want to return back to the Bitcentive guide and Bitcentive and start pushing that out, getting that done. That's it for me.
Sounds good. And I just realized we should be able to tell our Kevins differently apart. Not sure how we're going to work that out, but for now, I'm going to say OG Kevin. Your status for last week and next week.
Sure. Yeah. So I fixed an issue in CanView Parser that some people ran into, where the first character was being dropped if you're using magic tags inside of attributes. So that is fixed. And then finished going through the placement order guide for DoneJS 1.0 and some fixes there. So I think now basically the DoneJS 1.0 alpha is functional, and we're going to start working on improvements for DoneJS 1.0 starting next week.
Cool. Sounds good. Matthew.
Yeah. Oh, I saw your fix, Kevin. I really like that. I liked what the fix was. It was an off by one error. Those are always the best.
I created that error.
Yeah, but
was me.
Off by one. It's always a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been working on. Last week I worked on chat guide, getting that all going. And now I'm currently working on getting everything that's passed in the CI, because we run the guides, both guides in CI, and that's going well. It's not passing on Windows. Node version 7 is the last thing. So once I get that done, I'll be doing some of the same things Kevin is doing, trying to clean some things up, get things going faster.
Cool. Sounds good. Before we move on to topics that are already posted in the forums, does anyone else have anything that they want to bring up?
I could bring up that I've been working on pointer events, adding pointer events and touch events to Syn. It's actually pretty much ready to go. I just need to integrate some of the tests into the FunkyNet and Syn test suites. But yeah.
Sweet. Sounds good.
So yeah, the best thing I would say is, because I'm busy today and Monday and Tuesday I'm traveling. But any time Wednesday, if you want me to, like, pretty much any time of the day, if you want help walking through, like we talked about, how to set up GitHub and make a commit to be able to publish and get you all those rights, just send me a calendar invite, and I will attend.
I have already volunteered to help them today. I think we were going to pair after the contributors meeting, but yeah.
Do you have access rights to FunkyUnit?
I'm not sure, but that sounds like something I'd be able to get pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's fine. Just make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anyone have anything else? Nope. All right. Let's move to topics. I posted first, and my topic was keeping good standing as a DoneJS core team member. I'm bringing this up because I want to improve our organization and our transparency about who's on the core team and keeping good standing, because we have some core team members who have made contributions in the past and are still on the team, but they haven't been keeping their they haven't been contributing something every month and attending at least 2 core team or core contributors meetings per month. So what I'm proposing is I'm going to create a spreadsheet that has all of the information for each month, so we can keep track of people being in good standing. And the idea would be, if you miss 1 month, that's fine, right? To not contribute or be able to go to 2 contributors meetings in a month is fine. But if you start missing over consecutive months, then you'll be removed from the core team on the DoneJS site and not have voting rights. And I think that's the big thing, is for people not to contribute a little bit and then still have voting rights for months down the line when they haven't been contributing anything. So I wanted to bring this up. This is something that I want to start doing. Does anyone have any thoughts or objections to us implementing this sort of thing?
I would only say just make sure you let people know like the month they missed so that they have, they're aware of it.
Yeah, do it
They have a
gently.
chance to-
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, if it's good with the team, I'll email everyone after the meeting today or sometime today. I'll email everyone about this, and then I plan on when throughout the month, if I see that people aren't making contributions or they're not coming to the meetings or something, like give them a little extra email saying, hey, notice that you haven't been around and just want to talk about it. So
Now, if I do a contribution for them, can I have their vote? Does it work? No?
I don't
Doesn't
think
work
so.
that way?
I don't think it works that way. No.
Yeah.
No.
Can I buy their vote? No, you're not doing that. This is not stocks. Okay.
No. There's no options to vote that you can buy out from other people. And
I think you're gonna have to talk to the individuals, though. I mean, maybe you can make a deal with them.
just make a contribution, but have them publish it so they're in good standing. Cool. Anyone have any feedback, any objections? Sweet. Okay. Julian, I think you posted next on React projects and Steel React JSX and
Yes.
Can React. You want to talk about that?
Maybe Adam can talk to. He's working on Can React or on React stuff. So what the issue is that, especially for Steel, we have the Steel React JSX extension or plugin. It's not maintained very well, so it's out of date because we released Steel 1.0 and it has some changes to make on that. I did some changes a while ago, but that changes will not or aren't accepted or aren't merged right now. So the question is what do we do with packages or repos that's not maintained very well by the guy who created it? Can we find a new owner, and then the creator lost all his rights on them, that he cannot or that he can not accept pull request for that? So what's the plan about these projects?
I think I kind of want to clarify. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So the PR that Julian is talking about is this, make Steel React JSX compatible with Steel.js 1. And then the end result was a Batovian saying, we'll discuss it in a different issue. So I think that's the frustration with having this PR open and then us sitting on it and not doing anything with it.
Yeah, so what's going on? Because the problem is that the Steel plugin is used in a project, in a client project, I think, and they can't upgrade to a new React version because it's breaking. And so maybe I think they should use a private version, and this is the official version, and it's supported by Steel, and then they have moved to their own version.
Yeah, so Julian, you're a contributor, and yeah, those people work for Batovi, but like you can move unilaterally and do what you want there. I mean, you're gonna they.
I did, and then we get trouble because they say it was a breaking change, and then they break their app.
But then make it in a major release. Then you know what I mean. Just you can make the next major release and just say fine. You guys can keep making releases for the minor, and I'm gonna bump it to major, and then you can do whatever you want.
Okay, if that's
I think if something's not maintained or it's not being worked on, yeah, if there's someone who wants to do it, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, just that. I mean, that's why we have Semver now, which is great. So we can just say like, well, you guys aren't doing anything. You're taking over, but you're going to bump it to major so that they're not going to have problems. And I would do them the courtesy, and you can ask me to do this too. Like, if it's Bitovi people not maintaining something, you can of course ask me and just be like, hey, hey, because I can do things through like a different channel, which is like, take
Their
time
boss.
right now. Yeah. Take time right now and move these branches around so that you can work from here. And you can just email me that stuff too, and I can find out if there's time for it. But you can always, of course, do like make a legacy branch like we do for CanJS. Then, or you work in a major until you're ready, and then you can do the whole flipping over to make a major release. So,
Okay,
but
but
you're a contributor,
have-
so you have voting rights and you have a lot of latitude.
But I don't have access to the NPM publishing stuff,
But
right?
that's just ask for it. Like you're
Okay.
if it's under let's be clear, if it's in the DoneJS repo, the CanJS the DoneJS organization, the CanJS organization, the SteelJS organization, the FunkUnit organization. Well, I guess FunkUnit is under Bitovi, but FunkUnit, those kind of official DoneJS projects, you can we kind of talked about this for our operating rules, is you can really do whatever you want. Now it's good, of course, to like, we act under, I forgot the term, which is
Consensus?
it's like unanimous consent. For the most part, you can assume that everybody agrees with whatever you're going to do. Now, if someone else picks up on it or you bring it up and they say, hey, hold up, well, then we can have a vote if it's contentious, if we need to make a decision. But for the most part, as a contributor, like you can make decisions that will affect Bitovi. Like that's where the whole idea is. I'm trying to make this code base, yes, that Bitovi has worked extremely hard on, but the only way we get other people to buy in is they actually have authority around it. So you have authority.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
As a side note, Julian, you should definitely check out Adam's React stuff if you're interested. So I think it's a little bit more fleshed out than plain React.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else on this subject? All right. Justin, you had a couple of topics that you posted.
Yeah, and I just lost my forum page. So the first one was just like the roadmap article that I'm working on. Just wanted to talk about the ideas. I kind of shared this already with. So I'm speaking at a pretty big user of CanJS, but not like the one that we normally talk about who's using. This is a very formally very flashy user of CanJS. They were really plugged in and flashy.
You're just so clever.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm speaking there, and I'm trying to do a talk about like what we're doing for. It's kind of like a mix between what we're doing with CanJS for 3.0 and like how I think it can benefit other applications. And I just wanted to talk through my ideas, mostly because I'm going to go there and present, and it's something I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I don't have really my presentation ready. But it's nice if people here can quickly reflect on their thoughts on this. So the big thing, what I'm talking about is, our strategy for CanJS and our open source is really to focus on long-term stability. And kind of really, it's like what we want to be able to do, what I'm trying to use as my analogy in my presentation, is we are a weed between a rock and a hard place. And what you want to be able to do is find niches, find cracks, and take chances, but with very low cost of failure. And the way that we're doing that's kind of our general strategy, and the way that we're doing that is these kind of 5 steps, which is we're making everything its own package, We're trying to isolate globals and state in our code base, making so plugins and things like that create no side effects for others, right? When you mix in CAN validation, it shouldn't change the behavior of other modules just because one module is importing this. We're gonna make ourselves useful as much as we can to the larger community. Things like CAN fixture you can of course use no matter what project you're on. And then the final step is like get people involved and creative. Things like Bitcentive and stuff like that are going to go into there. The one that I think people understand the benefits of making things a package. I'm going to talk about the benefits of that. It's easy to migrate. We just had a perfect example of this where I had an off by one error in CAN view parser, but everybody was able to roll back to the previous version. And then Kevin was able to get a new release out, and everything worked. And they didn't have to roll back between they didn't have to roll back 100 changes. They just had to roll back one change in one package. And then I'm going to talk about the plugin generator for DoneJS and how that makes it a lot easier for us to manage. I'm going to skip this one and talk about the no side effects for others. This is a big how we're moving to our a plugin strategy. Is that I think that we should try to avoid stateful side effects in every module except for the final module that the user is creating. What I mean by this is if I have let's say I have a template, and some things just come standard. You can listen to a click handler and call some method. But if some other module currently kind of imports a custom element, well then suddenly this module can do that even if it doesn't directly import that functionality. And while this can be nice, I think this is a mistake. Now you can get really. One thing we could do is export every single piece of functionality as totally stateless, meaning that for this to work right here, for enter to work right here, you have to mix in, enter has to mix into CanJS's event system, right? For it to work simply like this, because we basically are going to do an add event listener on an element, and we need our add event listener to be overwritten so that it understands enter and will call back, whatever function was passed. But that again is stateful, mixing into some state in a very low, deep level, which is our event system. We could make our enter events just a functional thing where there's our enter module, our event enter module is just a function with an on and off, or has an on and off method that just totally handles it. But this is super gross, right? You import your. So what I'm going to be pressing for, what I think is the happy medium, is it is okay to mess with the state of the module that is being constructed, but try to avoid mixing into any other module. So one thing we could do is what we could go for eventually is things like this. Well, you're going to import all of the custom events you want in your module. Now, of course, if you wanted something that's used everywhere, well, you could build that yourself. If you wanted a standard pack, you could do that. But what this does is mixes into the event system of this particular template and says, hey, you can listen to enter events. And then you have the normal enter functionality. So this is kind of what can define, validate, and everything are going for, is this you don't touch anything but the code that you're looking at. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's any.
It has a new proposed feature.
No, this isn't. This is ideas. This is just something I jotted down on how you could do that in a template. I have already got ideas, and we're already doing this for stuff like can define stream, can define validate. Right? We're already shifting them to work this way, where you mix into your particular a
Yes.
view model or whatever.
Yeah, I created one of
Define
those
type.
for custom elements.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing for custom elements too. And I think that's like that. The reason why we do all of this is because I think it makes our code base extremely stable. Like you write an enter. We might actually write an enter on off. We might write it this way, right? Which is just doesn't depend on how add event listener works or anything else. It's just a function. It has 0 state on its own, and then we can mix that functionality in the appropriate level. We can have a way to mix it in to events here. We can have a way to mix it into just normal add event listener. But the way we write things is that, you know, we try to avoid state at all costs, I guess.
Yeah. So my question is as is like a keyword for can import to do some mixing in kind of stuff? Is that
maybe? I don't know. This is just like this is literally a like I was just jotting things down at like 9 o'clock at night while watching Netflix.
Well, I'm just thinking, could that possibly work with like the existing binding syntax? You know, you can get the value of a can import, but that becomes like a scope variable.
Yeah,
whereas
maybe.
where you're really but that's not really what you want.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is maybe templates have like there's scope variables that you can mix into, or you can call, right? So like there would be all templates would have an events, and then you can do things to that. You can say, hey, there's an enter event now, and then if it sees things like this, it can use this.
I think it's decent.
That's the general idea. So I don't know. Any thoughts about that? This is kind of what I'm talking about. And this is more or less also like our kind of ideas that we're trying to play with for 3.0.
No, I mean, for your presentation, I'd probably add some more photoshopped images and distribute it in PDF. That way you can open it in Acrobat and take a look at the presentation. But aside from that, I think it sounds good.
I don't even know what you mean. I don't even get that. Is that a joke?
There might be one in there.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what I'm talking about. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But like talking to them gave me the opportunity to like get some things off that I really wanted to talk about. So cool beans. Was there something else? Oh, can't validate. I don't think Juan is here, so maybe I'll talk to him and he'll come next week. But can validate should land in. I think it's published already. It's just not integrated with. It will be part of the CanJS 3.5. It's not documented yet. It does use these techniques that I was just talking about, and it'll be really nice to have validation.
Yeah, just for a second about the techniques you're talking about. What would be like an idea, I guess, for how that would relate to like component, like registers a tag or whatever, and you like have this now custom element. Would that be kind of the same idea? Like you want to move away from that?
You could do. You're saying like have a template or have a component that's scoped to within the template?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe
that's just it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. I was just thinking like, there's so much statefulness in component because you have to like register, each component, that I thought maybe that sort of goes against what you were talking about. And I was wondering what the solution was, but I guess maybe you're right. Maybe import into the templates the components that you're about to use.
You can't do that with real elements though yet. Can you, Matthew?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And you'll almost probably never be able to do it.
Yeah.
There's only one HTML parser, so.
Justin, didn't you talk about in that presentation the stateful pieces that are kind of separate from what you're talking about now?
Well, that's one thing that we just like. One thing that we've kind of already done, which is why I didn't get into it too much, which is, we isolated, like, I guess CanView callbacks is another one. We isolate anything that has its own statefulness to it, like CanCID. You can only want to have one of these modules. If you have two of them, there could be problems. Same with CanObservation. CID is what's used to like kind of uniquely label an object so that we can have maps and things like that for JavaScript objects, because normal map doesn't exist yet in all browsers that we support. So I'm going to talk about that as well. But yeah, it is. I mean, the solution to those things is where they can't be avoided. You harden them, you really focus on pulling them out into their own modules that are as least likely to change as possible. Because those APIs, like once they change, like everything has to make sure that they either work from it or release a new version. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that too. But yeah, it does. I mean, the custom elements are currently actually, we do support the ability to have different custom elements in different templates, because the option scope supports that. You can actually put in the option scope like custom tags, and those will only be used when in that rendering of that particular template. But that's not how the DOM doesn't support anything like that. So I don't know what we'll do. We'll just have the DOM is its own kind of stateful thing. Anyways.
Yeah, sorry to detract there.
Oh, no problem.
Cool. Anyone else have? I think that was everything that was in the forums for topics, unless I missed something. Does anyone else have any topics before we go? Cool. All right. Well, thanks for everyone here that came to the meeting. Thanks for anyone who's watching on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
See you. Bye.
Good one. See you, everybody.